to Dare to Be Us. Hi, I'm Ruth, founder of The Corner Beach and the host of Dare to Be Us. Welcome back to Dare to Be Us. We have here Shawn Leonard. Thank you so much for coming back to me again. And I have my co-host Joseph.
Hello to both of you.
Yes. So there's a reason we're having this conversation today. A lot of listeners have had the experience. They don't fully have a language for just not necessarily religious, but not always accepted in like science, and sometimes even misunderstood in spiritual spaces. So they stay quiet about it, right?
And so this episode is all about, it isn't about convincing anyone of anything. We know we can only do what we can for ourselves. It's really about giving space to explore, in this case, Shawn's experience, his lived experience, the inner world, and our perception, our beliefs, right? Intuition and spirit. And really the questions that naturally arise from that, because there always are. And it's good it's good to take a step back and good to ponder, good to be observant and have those.
So before that, we start, because I'd like to see, I know that you have a lot of projects. I know that you have your books. I know that you have your CDC, series. By the way, I met Jeff, the
Jeff,
the
cinematographer?
Yes.
Yeah. Jeff Wheaton, I think.
Yes. Well, I want to ask, before everything that you have built with all these teachings and that your public work, there was just you, right? Like experiencing the life, experiencing the lessons, and just, I guess, I know that you have talked about a little bit in your journey in your books, because I've read them.
Mm-hmm.
But would you like to share that with us?
Sure. I mean, well, my name is Shawn Leonard. I'm an author, speaker, teacher, TV show personality, I would say, on ABTN, not CBC Mining, which is Aboriginal People's Television Network. And I have a show called Spirit Talker. I'm as referred to in my culture as a Spirit Talker. My indigenous name is White Eagle Spirit Talker, which in Mi'kmaq is Wabak Ipuagunamajik Digmamajik, which is an identity.
So I want to know as well, because you were talking about the white buffalo medicine, and for me that was like, okay, I was expecting you to have the
the polar bear claw?
Yes.
I do have it.
Oh, you still have it?
Yes, I do.
Can I see it?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll just take this is my polar bear claw. And the story around the polar bear claw is, I believe that we have animals that are deeply connected to us as like spiritual guides, or, in indigenous culture we call them totems, but it's just really just guides, spirit guides that are in the animal form. And they, just like the seven grandfather teachings, they have, different medicines, right? And they represent different things. And the bear represents, courage and bravery, right? So I had this dream. I had no connection to a polar bear ever in my life. Although when I was young, I was intrigued by them because they're massive animals. I remember learning that they were just, how tall they were was just like, awesome. And so I had this dream, and I was going through something in life where, because we go through different things, all of us do, right? And I didn't tie this together right away, but I was going through something in life where I had a problem with this one family. And the reason is because I was starting to begin to write a book. And I had this one young lady from who I asked to help me write, right? And she wrote terribly, to be honest, and I had to fire her. And so I ended up getting a professional writer and rewriting my book, which had then become Spirit Talker eventually. So anyway, in my dream, I'm in a field. And as I'm in this field, I see these 7 shadows in this field that are starting to chase after me. And I don't know why they're chasing me, and I don't know who they are at this time. So I'm running because I feel like these shadows are going to do me some type of harm, and I just have to escape from them. So I'm running as fast as I can. And as I look across the field, out of the trees, which is odd because polar bears don't live in trees, these 7 great white bears walk out of the forest.
Wow.
And as they walk out of the forest, they start running towards me and the other people. And I'm like, oh, shit. Not only do I have to outrun freaking people, now I got to run freaking polar bears. Like, what the hell's going on here? So I'm like running for my life. And at some point, I realized I wasn't able to outrun any of them. I was gaining on the people, mind you, but I had to just surrender. So I got on my knees and I waited for the polar bears to devour me because I thought that was going to happen. But that's not what happened. As I laid on my knees, all 7 polar bears ran past me. And the shadows that were there to do me some type of harm, all 7 polar bears ran past me and pounced on each one of the shadows. And it wasn't gory or gruesome or anything. It was just like they just disintegrated. And then as all the shadows were gone, the polar bears turned around and started walking towards me. But then as they walked towards me, they merged into one bear. And this bear was like massive, like bigger than all the bears. And just massive. And he stared me in the eyes. And I woke up, terrified.
Yes.
But then amazed. And then I realized, as I thought about it, that bear was not there, or those bears or the polar bears weren't there to do me harm. They were there to help me. They were there to kind of protect me and keep me safe from what was these shadows. And so I woke up and I told my wife about the dream, and she was amazed. And I said, I think this is like one of the coolest dreams I've had, and I'd love to have something to kind of remember that by. And he said, I feel like I should carry some of their medicine, which physically in Indigenous culture, like when you're given my name, like White Eagle Spirit Talker, you may be gifted some eagle feathers, or an eagle feather might find its way, or a wing might find its way into your life, which it has for me and such. And so I said, I went out and had a ceremony. I laid some tobacco medicine as an offering. I did some sage, and I went out into the forest, and I spoke to the bear directly. Wabak Moon, which is the great white bear, right? I said, I invite you to send me a piece of you so that I can carry, so that I know that I walk with your medicine. I'm asking for a claw. And so I let it go, and for some time, I actually thought I might not receive it. And I thought, because you have to kind of just let that go, right?
Yeah.
And how long was some time went by?
Well, let's say
a day,
2 to 3 months.
Okay, yeah.
And then I started getting a little antsy. And funny thing is I start looking on eBay and Kijiji. I was like, I wonder if I could find like a gold claw that looked like a polar bear claw. And then, that little voice in your head goes, that's not what you asked for, And of course, the other physical voice, my wife, goes, yeah, that's not what you asked for.
Right.
And she's right, and the spirit people are right. So I just said, okay, I'm not doing this. If it's meant to come to me, well.
Yeah.
And a short time after that,
wow,
I got a package in the mail. And it was from a lady named Barbara Kemp Bishop. And she lives in Newfoundland, and I know her, and she's come to a few of my events, etc. And she sent me a letter, and she said, Shawn, I was just in northern Labrador. And she says, I met with this Inuk elder there. And he was an amazing man. I was in ceremony with them, and he gifted me 2 polar bear claws. And he said, Barbara, this one is for you. He said, but Barbara, this other one is meant to be gifted to someone else, and you'll know who it's supposed to go to. So he gifted it to her, and she went home. She says, I really thought about this for like 5 minutes. She said, I said, of course, this has to do with Shawn. And so she says, I hope that you accept this gift of this polar bear claw from the elder in northern Labrador. Now, mind you, we have no polar bears in Nova Scotia. So I didn't know how any of that was going to come to me, but yet everything in the universe conspired, and even the great white bear to spirit world, everything coming together to allow that to come to me in life.
To align it, right?
So this is the claw that was gifted to me. Now it gets a little stranger because that's not where it ended. Because another week or so after that, I had another lady come to my house who is a Mi'kmaq lady, and her name is Lori Kurda. And we were having a gathering of people, and she works in Lance, Nova Scotia, and she's doing some part-time taxidermy, and at the local place in Lance there. And she said, I was just working on a polar bear rug, Shawn, and I cut a little piece off because there was a little piece I was fixing the rug for a client. And she said, I felt I should bring you a piece. So she says, here, I'll gift you this piece of polar bear fur. And I'm like, oh, that's so amazing. And I showed her the claw, told her the story, and she's like, oh, this is definitely meant for you. A week or so goes by. I get a lady calls me and says, her and her mom are looking for a session. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I don't really do sessions anymore. I'm really busy doing this and that and whatever. I'm writing, I'm traveling. I'm doing a TV show, Spirit Talker for APTN. I'm just very short on time. Mm-hmm. And she goes, well, that's too bad. Because I had this old polar bear rug in my closet I wanted to gift to you in exchange for the reading. Mm. I said, what did you say?
I've never guess.
Let me check my calendar. Yeah, apparently I have an opening coming up. So I felt like it was spirit finding its way. And then, after that, another person gifted me another claw.
Oh, really?
And then I went to New York last year and before the book came out, and I did a workshop at the Mega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York, which I'm going back in the end of May to do a weekend retreat workshop there. But a lady was there at the event, and she sent me indigenous carved mask with polar bear fur as like hair. Oh. So now I've got another piece. And then as I was writing the book, I had a lady reach out to me. Her name's Kelly Finnegan, and her husband's name was Steve. Mm-hmm. And so when they called me, they said, and this is like around I think it was just after Christmas or around New Year's. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I think it was around the winter solstice to be exact. Mm-hmm. But so I met them at Tim Hortons over at Dartmouth Crossing. Okay. And so I met them, Steve and Steve's sister, and they told me the story about how Steve's father just passed away. Mm. And they were dealing with the estate and things, and there were certain things they didn't know what to do with it. And they said, Shawn, Steve's father lived in the Northwest Territories for some time, and he met many Inuk people, and there was an Inuk person there, an elder, who needed a sled. So, Steve's dad was really wanting to have a polar bear rug, and so they traded. Mm. And he had this pristine rug with the head, all the claws, the tail, everything. Wow. And so they traded for that. But now Steve's dad's passed and we don't know what to do with it. We're thinking about offering it to you. Would you accept this? And I said, I would totally accept this. I'll honor for the rest of my life. It's a sacred object. Mm. Now, I have 6 different parts of different polar bears. Wow. Since that day that I asked for just a claw. Wow. And I don't know how many other people parts of polar bears come to, but when for me, life is a little odd like that, because I know I'm connected. I know we're all connected, mm-hmm. but I know that I'm connected. Yes. I have that awareness and consciousness that I am. Mm. And that I know that the spirit world, including the animal nation, mm-hmm. responds to me and works with me and walks with me. Mm-hmm. And so that's amazing. I still have not received the 7th part, because in the dream I saw 7 bears. And I feel like even the dream...
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like in the dream... And I've been told that people say, well, you're the 7th. You were a bear yourself once, and you're the 7th bear. And I don't know if that is true or not. It may be true.
Well, so maybe if that's true, well, have you ever wondered that maybe was your pack, your family?
Yeah, absolutely. Like my spirit totem animal family. Yeah, because we've been connected through many lifetimes and maybe lived many different experiences through different forms. And maybe one of them may be of a bear. Who knows, right? Yeah. I don't know that 100%. But I do know that there's physical things that have shown up in my life, and I have 6 of them. And so I feel like the bear wants me to share its teaching. Yes. Mm. I mean, the polar bear is resilient. It goes through harsh environments, and I've gone through so many hard things in my own life. So there's a similarity between my spirit and the polar bear. Mm. But is it the only medicine that I carry? No. My name is White Eagle Spirit Talker. I had the white buffalo come to me in life very early age.
Really?
And when way back when I came back to Nova Scotia, because I lived in Calgary for a long time, I wasn't deeply connected to my culture at that point. But I started to really kind of like inquire about what it means to be Indigenous. I was already working as a spirit talker, as a psychic medium per se. So I started to attend different things, and there was a local fellow who was doing like a ceremony, and he lives in Spain. And so anyway, he was the first person that gifted me at the ceremony. Was a little bead of a white buffalo, and it was the ashes of a white buffalo. And he said, I feel like I have to gift you this, and you're meant to carry this. He says, I have two, but I know I'm meant to give you this one. And, years have gone by. Here I'm filming Spirit Talker, like the TV show. I'm on season 4 and season 5, and I got to go to these communities. One was Long Plains First Nation, and there was like a herd of buffalo. And during filming one of the episodes, I was instructed by an elder there to put a prayer tie on the fence and pray for his people. And there's tobacco inside. He asked me what color I wanted. I chose the color blue, which really resonates with me. So I put the prayer tie and I put it on the fence. And as I walked away, I saw the white buffalo walk over to my prayer tie. And he put his head on it.
Oh, wow.
And then he stared at me in the eyes. And it was like, in the moment, I realized that the white buffalo was also deeply connected to me. And I almost I felt like he was communicating to me in that moment as I stared him in the eyes and he stared me in the eyes that, we've known each other before. We've had a relationship before. We were connected before in other lifetimes. And he remembers me. And he was saying that from this point on, my medicine will walk with you too. And don't you remember the bead? And it came back into my mind. Oh my God, I was gifted that bead some time ago. And so I was really kind of happy that had come to me. And it was almost like helping me remember that he was already there. And I was just coming to the realization that he was again, just like the bear. Because I feel like with the animal totems, I feel like we have at least 4, if not more, totems that walk with us in life.
Wow.
But I also understand from Indigenous perspective that, we have a teaching that involves the medicine wheel. And the medicine wheel has different stages of life. There's different directions and there's different meanings for the medicine wheel. But in the different stages of life, from infancy to youth to adult to elder. And I started to think about this kind of deeper connection that when these medicines came to me throughout my life was in these different stages. And I'm sneaking up on the elder stage of my life as I'm 53. And, you can't call yourself an elder in a community unless it's something has to be bestowed upon you. It's not something you say, well, I'm an elder. I'm not an elder. And I've not reached I may be the elder stage of life.
Yes.
But I've not received that from my community.
Do you have to wait until your hair turns pure white he's an elder? Because
you have to be an elder community. You have to be connected to your community. You have to share teachings that are also traditional, and it has to be a ceremony that is bestowed upon you by the community.
So
even if I reach the age, I may never ever receive that kind of. I've been told that from other Indigenous people who has said that they see me and respect me as an elder. And that's fine, but I will never call myself an elder. Unless I've been gifted traditionally through ceremony in my culture. But I do believe, the animals are independent of my beliefs.
That's what's so great about them, right?
They're still connected to us, and no matter what culture, faith, or belief you are. And I feel like as of late, there was an elder that had that I connected to. His name was Danny Paul, and he passed away, unfortunately. And just before he passed away, I had called him to tell him about a dream that I had. Very profound dream. Because I receive a lot of messages from dreams, and sometimes I understand what they mean, and sometimes I need insight from other people who have wisdom or who are elders, etc. So I called Danny and said, "Listen, I had this very profound dream involving eagles. I was in the sky with the eagles, and we were flying, and some of the eagles were pure white, and they did not have a partner or a mate. But I didn't see many of the eagles had partners and mates." But what I noticed about many of the eagles was their wings had ice in them, and they were freezing. and they were dying. And I saw the partner or the mate of the eagle land on the other as they're flying through the air. One of the other eagles of their partner would land on their back and pick away at the ice with their talons. They were trying to free them of the things that were carrying them, making them heavy and weighed down, that was killing them. And they were trying to help each other to the best of their ability. And then what happened was all the eagles somehow ended up at a church hall because they refused to go to the church. And, you know, if you can imagine eagles trying to kick down a door.
Yes.
And they didn't want to go. They wanted a place, but they didn't want to go there. But they needed a place of their own.
Yeah.
So there's this priest or this person who came to the door and said, "Okay, well, I'll help you build this, and I respect that you want to build this." So all the eagles and some people of the community got together and they built a longhouse.
Wow.
And all the eagles were inside the longhouse, and I saw some of the white eagles, which now I see that were the elders in the longhouse, carrying the medicine, the wisdom, the teachings, that were sharing it with the people who were ill in the longhouse in a traditional way. And I saw all the ice melting from the eagle's wings. So that's why I told Elder Danny Paul about it. And he said, that's a really profound dream. He said, and he told me that he had a spot picked for a longhouse. And, you know, in the Mi'kmaq people, there's no longhouses that I know about in any of the communities.
None.
But there was traditionally, back in the day, these longhouses where the elders would go teach and share their wisdoms and such.
And they would have a nice fire called the hearth, right, in these longhouses.
Yes, absolutely.
Very similar to the Celtic.
Yeah.
Long, even the Vikings, long Norse long houses. They're like basically narrow barns, but that's where...
Because you'd have a space for the heart sacred fire, right?
Yes, and it's continually burning.
Yeah.
For the community.
Or when we do go in there, maybe like we burn it for 4 days. So you have a 4-day ceremony where there's teachings over 4 days. So there's many things that happen in indigenous culture happen with the number 4 in mind.
Yeah.
The 4 directions, because we have the 4 directions. So we kind of marry it to time in relation that when we do a ceremony, when we lose somebody in the community, we have a sacred fire that lasts 4 days. And then there's special people who are meant to hold space for that fire. And that's their ceremony. That's their gift for the community, is to carry that fire for the community, for the family. And then when people, you take good medicine, you only put good wood in the fire. And that when the family is like grieving or need to say prayers to kind of help their loved one to transition into the light and help the entanglement that we may have with loss, that we may make offerings into the fire, etc. And that helps us move through our grief, but also helps, the spirit to kind of like surrender and move through their grief so they can surrender and move into the light themselves.
Okay. So that would be the medicine?
Yeah.
Okay. Because for me, I hear about the medicine, but at the same time, so how do we actually know what the medicine is? How do we actually,
there's offering is an extension of your medicine.
Okay.
Each of us is the medicine. We're the medicine for our life, we're the medicine for a family, we're the medicine for a community. You are the medicine. And when we make offerings, there's like intentions that we've placed upon certain particular medicines, like sage, like connecting the ancestors, or sage connecting and clearing energy, right? And it's connected to the western direction, or sweetgrass, which is connected to the ancestors, right? And there's different directions in relation that we have connected to certain medicines, and we have different beliefs connected to these medicines, but they really have no power unless you activate through your medicine.
Wow.
It just amplifies, just like a crystal, right? If you imagine a crystal is just a rock in the ground. But unless you hold it and use it with your thoughts, your prayers, your words, and intentions, that's what amplifies your thoughts, words, intentions, and prayers. Because a crystal's intention for being here in Earth and all around the universe is to amplify energy. It has its own energy. It holds energy, a piezoelectric energy connected to it. But when you use it in ceremony, it amplifies your intention. So when we have sage and we're doing a clearing, it amplifies that intention, but it's still, you are the medicine.
Wow, that's beautiful. So I'm guessing with what you're saying, I know that we all have that capacity of bringing the light, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that, for example, I understand through Dolores Cannon, where it's like everyone has that in our DNA. We were talking about the DNA and how it's incorporated already with the psychicness.
Yeah.
And all the light that we can have, and we have all the capacity to even start, saying everything telepathically.
Yes.
And I'm guessing that's how you're activating that you're with the medicine. Is that what it is?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like really what's the light or energy that's within you, the connection to spirit. It's that working with spirit within self that is the medicine. And it's how you work with that spirit. You can work with it a high level energy, lower level energy, and in a good way or not a good way.
Yeah.
And that's our creation. So when we want to do things from a good way, which is always the way of, that indigenous people approach things, is we approach things in a good way. Our ceremonies are done with right intention, right action, right words, and right thoughts, and right feelings even in our heart. It's so sacred, how we hold space for everything. Life is a ceremony, and we are the medicine for life.
Yes. So I'm gonna
Agreed.
pass to.
I missed that whole bit, but agreed. Life is, but it is.
It is.
There's so many, like the minor themes, the major themes. Oh, amazing! I got successful, I got married, and then you experience death, and what do I need to do?
No, I just say
Yeah, and it's just that grief. Everyone experiences really at some point. So,
of course.
Yeah. It's a beautiful teacher.
Yes, it's
Grinds you to dust if you offer resistance, which I do sometimes.
It's just the experience of separation.
And and it's like letting go, really. It's a letting go of,
or moving into acceptance.
Yes, that's right.
Or changing your beliefs from thinking that you're separate.
Yes.
I have a question, because I want to go back a little bit with what we were talking about, the energies, the frequencies, and I was telling you about the podcast I learned from a lot of podcasts, and it's really funny because I've always been like detached from my roots. For some reason, it kind of like I didn't feel that was home for so long until I feel here is my home.
Right.
But right now I'm kind of like, I'm seeing my roots in a different way, and it's like I'm giving more, that attachment again, instead of doing the detach. I'm again, getting my roots and attached with those.
Sure.
And it's funny that I am listening to podcasts that are in Spanish, because I've always listened everything in English. It was kind of like that part of me that I did kind of like rejected a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's funny that right now they're giving me a lot of lessons, and I'm learning from this, right? But so what I wanted to say, or what I wanted to ask, was that the part about what they were sharing is that there is these seven levels, kind of like what they were saying, in terms of the dimensions where we are.
7 spectrums of light. There's 7 levels of energy.
Exactly. Yes. So and they were explaining on the lines that we are and the frequencies that we are. For example, Dolores kind of was saying that as much as you get in the awareness and you're changing this belief systems, you're changing the or breaking generational patterns and things like that, is where you're starting to detach from the 3D and you're going to the 5D, right?
Yeah.
So they were saying as well that within the lines there are different no versions, timelines kind of thing, or dimensions in which, for example, let's say that I'm deciding right now to talk about the phone.
Yeah.
But maybe you decide not to, and then that's one line, or where you decide, and there's another
possible
line.
realities.
Right, that's a lot of possible realities, and that you're able to actually, if you're aligned with yourself, when you actually get to know within you and connect with source, is when you're able to start seeing those. So how does that work?
Well, I mean, that's how our guides are with us. That's why our guides are working with us, because when we do have kind of a contract for life, you know, your guide's purpose and intention is to kind of keep you on track with your purpose.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you can't ignore them. You can, because I mean, some people go off track and lose their sense of self and lose their sense of direction of where they're supposed to be through all this. Because I don't think any of us come here to fail or to lose ourselves. I think that we come here to discover it, and maybe even discovery might take many lifetimes too. It's not just one, you know. That's forever. I mean, why just say, okay, well, if I can't figure it out this life, I'm never going to figure it out, right? Yeah. Well, maybe it takes 10, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? You know, I think that's like, well, I think the creator's like an equal opportunity employer. I don't think he says, okay, well, it can only take the smartest people here. You know, this is like, it takes all kinds of different people and different levels of thinking and such. But our guides are the ones that help us stay on track.
Okay.
And when you're in alignment, you'll notice the synchronicities, you'll notice the deja vus, you'll notice, or and I think this happens a lot more than people even realize.
Yes.
That your guides are speaking to you.
Yes.
Because you'll think this is why you'll be talking about something, and then all of a sudden a tangent gets thrown in your mind to say, well, maybe you should talk about this. Where does that come from? Is it your mind thinking in the background, going about what other things you can think about?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes.
It can be connected to your higher self, but also your higher self and your guides are going, hey, guide her to talk about this.
Yeah.
And so you'll notice sometimes when your guides are interacting with your thought processes about directions and choices that you make, it was like all of a sudden something just gets inputted in your brain and say, tell this story.
Okay.
Or remember this. And then it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that story. And then you start telling that story. So that's when we start to realize that there's something higher energetically, which you can call your higher self or your spiritual guides or whatever, are interacting with your conscious awareness and choices in life.
Oh.
And sometimes, many times, we're unaware that's even taking place.
So what is that sort?
Isn't there an aspect in all of this where we, you know, I'm starting to learn connection with self before externally. And when I connect with myself, for me, it's important, it's heart coherence. If I'm listening with my heart, it's different mind, different emotions. Do I do it as much as I should? Not really. But it's been a beautiful, when I do, you're in that, you're really listening.
You're in this. Your guides then don't have to interject.
Bingo. It comes from within, and then it's like, oh, that's a good idea.
And like there's a soul memory within you. That
and exactly. And then when you have like spirit guides, they interact, like you said. I'm always like, I want to meet them, give them a hug, embrace them. But I'm like, maybe I'm too enthusiastic for them. Maybe they're not ready. No. But anyway.
They're going to be with you no matter what.
No, I know. It's like just, they sort of drip feed, or like you said, you get an idea and it's like, hang on a minute, I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
But then it connects with your heart center and you're like, oh, that's yes. And then you go with that. See, that happens all the time.
That's when you know that you're on the right path.
Yes.
That's when you're in alignment with your chart.
Aye. Yeah. Okay.
Because then it feels like that. There's this alignment with this, right? Yeah. It's a soul memory.
It is.
Of going, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yes.
This is what I'm supposed to be experiencing. This is what I'm meant to be going through in this moment.
Yeah.
So that's alignment. That's your guides don't. I mean, that does exist within us too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but it's when guides are trying to gently give you direction, and maybe they feel like you're veering off subject, veering off the path. Then they'll say, oh, maybe you should give your mom a call. Maybe you should go see your best friend. you haven't talked to your best friend in a while. Yeah, I haven't, visited Joe in a long time. Maybe we should give Joe a call. And then next you're Joe, and Joe helps you think about something different.
Yeah.
But they've already put that thought into Joe to tell you, so it's like you don't even see that the alignment that they're doing in the background are going to help you stay on your purpose or path.
Yeah, gosh.
But they're not there every second going, okay, well, you have to do this, you have to do that. Because many times there is that soul memory. That alignment that's already playing out, because it's like finding your way across Canada. We all have our own way to get across Canada. Some people are going to take the railroad, some people are going to fly, some people are going to go every back road they can find.
Right. Gotcha.
And some people take the highway to Saskatchewan and go, okay, well, now I'm lost.
Yes.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But, and some people may never find their way out of Saskatchewan.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But the intention was always there to help you find your way all the way to Vancouver or Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this, it may take you 3 more lifetimes to find your way out of Saskatchewan. Everybody in Saskatchewan always gets a kick out of this when I say this story. But.
It's like, it'd be true. It's like Saskatchewan was just, it wasn't. What's so bad about it? No, it's great.
I'm like, it's very flat, and if you get off the track, it's like hard to find the right way.
But it's true, isn't it? Like, it's a different experience. Coming from England, that's where I was born and raised, you don't have the luxury of thousands of square miles of wilderness.
Yeah.
When I first went to the US, Montana, I was on a peak, and what blew me away was the first time I ever felt small. In my home country, you look up on a high peak, it's beautiful, but then it's like, if I got lost, I now walk 20 minutes, there's a house or a farmhouse or a church, it's built up. So a wilderness spot, you don't get them. It's like, give it 20 minutes, you'll bump into someone on a hike.
Of course, yeah.
In Montana, I borrowed a 4-wheeler. I was on one of the lookouts, and I looked, and I couldn't see a house for as far as and I'm like, if I was plopped in there, I would walk probably weeks without bumping into a soul. And it was this radical, how big the land was that I never experienced, and I liked it. It's a weird feeling of feeling small. I'm 6'8".
Yeah.
So it was very grounding. That's why I like storms. I'd like to be as safe as possible, but like go out in a thunderstorm and experience that, because you feel. I'm humbled in that way from a physical.
There's a few times in my life, and people may say this is kind of like an angelic intervention, but I've had experiences where, spirit has intervened.
Oh yeah.
To help me not be harmed.
You really? Yeah.
And one of those times I was a little kid, and this is a funny story because I grew up in Elmsdale, not far from here, and I lived on a hill. And one of the things I did growing up, because there was no internet, and there was only 2 channels on TV, and I wasn't even allowed to watch TV most days. So it was just get outside and come back, get back, go back outside after something, come back and right?
Yeah.
I'm lucky if I survived, really.
Yeah.
And so you lived life outside and just exploring all that. And we had like our bikes, and that was pretty much what we had. And so one of the things we did do is we were very kind of crazy kids, I guess. But we would go down and we'd make little ramps and we'd jump them. And we'd even line up people and see how many people we could jump over our bikes.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So we'd go down the hill and you'd pedal as fast as you can. And sometimes we built ramps that were good, and sometimes they weren't so good. So this one time I built the ramp. Now this is where life is like we're living your life, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes there has to be an intervention of some sort to kind of like alter your trajectory, because if not, it would change you so drastically that you wouldn't live the life that you're meant to live.
Wow.
The purpose that you're intended.
Yeah.
So I was going down the hill, and we used a piece of plywood which was too bendy. And we had a good base, rocks and a couple boards and things. But when I came down the hill and I hit the ramp, the plywood bent in. So my tire turned, and I'm flying through the air. And I'm on a gravel road, and I know this is going to really suck because I've wiped out many times in my life. But flying through the air, I felt somebody grab me. And literally as I'm flying, flailing through the air, somebody grabbed me and went, put me right on my feet.
Wow.
And the kids are like, oh my God, that is so amazing. Like, how did you do that? You were like flying through there and all of a sudden you just came straight down on your feet. I'm like, I mean, somebody grabbed me and put me down. And they, no, it was really cool, but no, nobody grabbed you. But I felt hands grab me.
Yeah.
And I felt them place me firmly on my feet. Wow. I didn't slide, I didn't fall. It was like I was flying through the air and went, turned straight down.
Wow.
And that was one occasion. Another occasion, I was in Calgary, and I was going to my cousin's house, and I was driving, and it's busy in Calgary, big city, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and I'm in a bit of a rush, and I'm going through this intersection where I don't have a stop sign, but the two people coming this way do. But neither one of them stop. And I'm bracing in my car to be hit on both sides at the same time, and they're going fairly fast. But I experienced something at that moment where time was altered. Because time froze. Time froze, and I could see them having not braked, and just like maybe a foot before hitting my car, I was still moving, but they were not. I went through the intersection, and it picked up again. Wow. And I think those two moments of my life, I probably could have died. Mm-hmm. I could have died or been paralyzed, or it would have altered my life in such a way that I would not be the person I am today. I wouldn't be on the path I am today.
Yeah.
So it's an imperative. Now, we have the free will to do the crazy things like run down those hills and hit ramps and drive like everyone else does, sometimes maybe a little too fast. But there's moments where sometimes Spirit intervenes and say, this is not your path. Mm-hmm. And people may say that's like angelic intervention or what have you. Yeah. That's when sometimes I call them our guides, our spirit guides, have to intervene to keep you on your path. Now, is it meant for some people to be hurt in life or harmed or even die? Yes, because that's their path. Yeah. And that's one thing my father told me when he passed away. After he visited me when I was 16, he came to me and that I saw the other side. I saw the spirit world. It was this unconditional, loving white light, which I realized then, and this is before the Matrix came out, I realized that we're living in a matrix.
So when you said unconditional, did you feel like a tremendous amount of acceptance and allowing and love? Like there's nothing.
When I saw the light and I felt it, I knew there was no place that light was not. There was nowhere it wasn't. It was my perception that I'm separate from it. It's somewhere out there, but it's in here. And it's something that an ascended master may say. And if you think about this, Joshua, split a piece of wood and you'll find me there. Lift a rock and you'll find me there. There's no place I am not.
Yeah.
When he was speaking with the understanding of that connection to source.
Yeah.
Which is that reality that exists around us all the time, that makes up everything, holds everything together in an energetic form, but yet we don't get to see it. We just see the form.
Yeah, we just see the form.
We see the light. We see the rock.
We're separate from that. It's more
in everywhere, through everything, in all around us, it exists. And when I saw my dad, and he explained to me, he says, Shawn, I've come to you with a message to let you know that I'm okay. First of all, tell your mom I'm okay. Tell your brother I'm okay. But I was always meant to lead your life at this time. He was 42 and he died of a massive heart attack. He says, that was my purpose, to live until this age. And I was always the person, because we made an agreement before you or I were born, that I would leave your life now, and that I would be the one to show you and help you remember who you are and your source. And one day you're going to help people understand this. And I was 16 and I thought, this is stupid. I mean, the only thing I thought about at that point was guitars and girls.
Yeah. Right.
A little bit of weed here. I didn't think about the makeup of the universe. Mm-hmm. Although I had experienced like spiritual things growing up, it was still the furthest thing from my mind. Yeah. But he already knew something about my life that I didn't know yet, that I haven't evolved into, that I haven't grown into, an aspect that I was going to come into.
Right.
But I remember seeing that light and experiencing it and feeling it. And it was kind of like in an astral state, because then I wasn't allowed to move into it, because he wouldn't let me move into it. He would just let me see it and feel it. Because he says, if you move here, you're not going to want to come back. I'm like, no, I'll come back.
Yeah. I want to ask something,
because when you experience that, everything's in cohesion.
Yes.
It's light, love, everything. It's just a rhythm. Everything's doing. Every consciousness is just doing, being.
Yeah.
And then you experience it, it's like, whoa, what was that? And then it's like you come back into this sort of almost like an industrial age where it's just everyone's doing.
Yeah.
It's a weird, that in itself is a brand new concept.
We need to do and be to some degree.
There's certain things,
we need to feed ourselves. We need to shelter ourselves. We need to surround ourselves with people that we love. There's essential things that we need to do in life to be here.
Yeah.
Right? We can't meditate on a mountain without drinking food or water and isolate ourselves and expect that's all life should be.
Yeah.
We've come into this physical reality to experience this physical reality.
Yes.
We've come in to not see the light, although it's around us. We've come here to remember that we are the light in this reality, to experience it, but also not to be too married to it in a sense.
Yeah.
To say that this is all it is.
Yeah.
And to evolve and grow and to understand this condition from which we've come to understand as humanity and in life on Mother Earth.
So I wanna ask something that you mentioned when it's about the experiences of you getting a message, or your guides are saying this. I remember in one of the books with Dolores Cannon, she was mentioning something like, if you see Star Trek, for example, it's kind of like that. Like it's there. We have the galactic, is it galactic government or something like that?
I don't know.
I don't know, or something like that mentioned. But
the Galactic Federation is that what you're talking about?
Yes, the Galactic Federation. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say with this is that she mentioned that sometimes those messages get to people with a purpose. Like, for example, I was thinking, do you believe that for us to understand how that galactic, or how we're not, at some point I'm guessing that we're going to have that contact with the other species, that somehow they deliver that message through authors, through cinematography, to kind of understand how is that, and then it's not like a shock.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of going on now, actually. I feel like there is connection. There's been connection for a long time with other star beings and other worlds and other places. And, there's most of them are good. There's a few that are leery of us, and there's one that I felt that was not so good. But that's the condition from which experience exists in the physical reality, right? I can tell you about some of the people that I met. And they are kind of inspiring things. I mean, if you think about it, one of the people that I met was the Arcturians. I met an Arcturian. And it was one of the most profound dream astral trips that I've taken. And I got to be on a ship with an Arcturian in his world. I saw his world, I saw his planet, I saw his sun, I saw his people, I saw what his world looked like. Because of all my life, I've had this desire of wanting to see and feel and experience what it's like to be in another place, right? And other beings. Yeah. And I got to experience that. And it was realer than reality is now in the way that I saw and experienced it. I was on the ship and he took me to his planet, he showed me his sun. And what I saw in his world was amazing. Because they've gone through what we've gone through. They've lived, billions of years through different incarnations. They've evolved to the space and place where they are. He told me that they lived on 4 or 5 other planets. They didn't just live on one. And the ones that they did inhabit weren't their original. Their original was destroyed because they were at war with another species. And it was the Greys that they'd fought with. They had their own stuff. in time, back in time, but they've come to some type of peace to just, let each other be. But it doesn't mean they don't prepare to escape, because I saw on each planet that they had, especially the one that I went to, it had like a massive craft that if they had to, they all could go into and leave if they had to.
Oh, wow.
Because if there was a catastrophe that happened to the world that they couldn't control, or there was another species that were, let's call it fearful living, and or trying to conquer or tackle, which is also part of like the galactic kind of like mindset with certain beings, like including us. I mean, look at us, and even how we've evolved to kind of like grow from Europe to Turtle Island, North America, or down to the South Americas, and how they've kind of like taken over, and and now this whole kind of like we've lost our culture because we're not allowed to necessarily be. It's coming back more, but we've been kind of like taken over, in a sense. And although that freedom is starting to come out more now, but on their own world, they've evolved beyond all that. And I saw the world that they were in, and it had pristine water. Every plant and animal and everything that existed on it, all the plant life was just so vibrantly green and alive. It was like their world was, and they paid so much special attention to the care of their planet. They loved their planet.
And they lived in harmony by so. They actually lived in harmony.
And they mostly lived simple lives. They lived in simple places and homes and spaces. They didn't need cars. They had their own little crafts to move around if they needed to. It's like, let's say, kind of like a nature Jetsons, let's say.
Right.
They're super advanced, but very connected to nature. And I saw caretakers caring for the water, the fish that swam in the water, the trees that lived by the water. And that was their whole thing in life, is to have a good ecosystem, a healthy ecosystem, because if they support their ecosystem, then
it supports them.
The long-term longevity of their own species and their own life. Even though there's other worlds that they could potentially go to, and some of their ancestors are living on these other worlds. And they could go to them if they needed to, but they were happy within this world. And they took care of it. And every other Arcturian that was living in the other worlds that they were on were also caring for the world. But he told me about the wars they had in the past.
Wow.
He told me about how they fought with the Greys.
Yeah. That's something that
So the Greys are the little shorter, like
there's different types of Greys, and I've met some short and tall ones, and they don't seem too bad today, and I think they've evolved as well.
I have a question in regards of that. You were mentioning about the dimensions, right? Like when you experienced that, where you were about.
Something else I was going to say. The Arcturians were blue.
Okay, how do you spell that?
Arcturian?
Arc.
I'm not 100% sure. It's Arcturian. Arcturian.
What do they look?
Blue. Now, she was mentioning something about how pop culture is being guided. With this connection. And I'll tell you, you've probably heard of the movie Avatar.
I feel that Avatar is
absolutely.
Now that's not the reality of the experience, but it's a fictionalized depiction of what Arcturians potentially could look like. Because James Cameron, the director, the creator of
Avatar,
also dreamt and had a connection to the Arcturians.
See, that's what I was telling you. There's those messages that they deliver those messages for us to know and to kind of like depict.
Isn't that interesting?
Maybe it's not the real.
No, it's not. It's a dramatized movie version of there's wars and fighting, but the essence of who they are is true. I mean, how they look in the movie is not exactly either. They look very humanoid like the Greys, except taller and blue.
Wow.
And they had tight, skin suits on, and They kind of look...
or like sort of like suits for the atmosphere, or clothing.
Like I saw this kind of skin tight suit that they wore that was close to their body. Wow. And I could tell there was masculinity and femininity, that there was male and female amongst their group. There was two-spirited people.
Yeah.
They were two-spirited bisexual people, you know, that in their own, they're also very similar, right?
Wow.
And some of their genetics are part of ours as well, because we're made of the universe. So it's impossible for us not to be, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like, you're different. You know, it's like, no, we're all part from the same.
My mind is flowing right now with a lot of questions that I want. Well, I mean, I might not have all the answers.
In movies, like you're saying, like they're trying to inspire. It's like in the movie, if you break down Avatar, what on Avatar is that there's these people coming in trying to take over the planet and use its resources and pollute it. Right?
Corrupt it. It's basically corruption and greed.
Yeah, absolutely, right. So that's the premise of the movie, and that's what sells movies, is the economy, the thing that you're fighting against, right? So that's why James Cameron made the movie. I didn't see them with tails or striped or anything like that. But the essence of the blue beings and the world and caring for the world, and how in the movie it's depicted as that as well. So there's some underlying truth to, you know, that movie in itself and his connection to the Arcturians. And he just recently came out with this.
Wow.
He just recently, and I think in the last 6 months, have come out to admit it. He says, you know, what inspired Avatar was a dream that I had a long time ago, where I connected to these blue beings, and that's what I saw in the world, is how much they cared for the planet. It's the same dream I had in connection to this one individual on the planet. So why are they reaching out to us?
Yes.
But what I saw was the potential for humanity.
Yes.
And the evolution of who we could be if we continue down the process where ego and lack and fear doesn't rule.
So
that's the thing. Fear, ego.
Yes.
Yeah, carry on.
No, sorry. It's because
that's what's
we're
dominating.
talking a lot about this, him and I, and another thing that I learned from the podcast. That's exactly how they started the universe, right? How they started the evolution within all the species. And I know that there are many species that are already evolved, even more so, like, I don't know how many years.
The Lyrians. Yes, I met the Lyrians too.
Oh, yeah. Are they the sort of lion? Are they like feline?
They looked humanoid, but they had cat eyes.
That's gotcha. Yeah.
They were they looked humanoid. They had a bit of kind of like striping on their skin, but they were still very humanoid.
But they have a feline kind of characteristic,
Maybe there's a similarity.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I know people have described that.
Yeah.
I mean, from my experience of meeting the Lyrian, she knew who humanity was, and I was on her world, and she was like really intrigued by how the hell I got there. Like, how the hell did you get here?
And you're like, I don't actually...
She didn't invite me, she didn't bring me. I just showed up on the world somehow.
How did you do that?
I don't know. I actually traveled.
Oh, you actually traveled.
I went there. I didn't intentionally go, okay, I'm going to go to, this planet, meet these people. I never even knew these people existed. Okay. But I appeared on the planet and I saw the planet, and it was so vastly different than the Arcturian world that I was on.
Really?
And the technology was like going to Tokyo, except cleaner. It was just, the whole planet was like buildings, sky rises, and very like Star Wars in a sense. You know, when you see like when
it reminds me more like a Star Trek, not a Star Trek. Yes, a Star Trek.
Yeah, it was like so advanced in technology. But one thing I got from them is they did not want to commingle with humanity.
They didn't want to commingle.
No.
Yeah.
They weren't interested, and they did not, because I asked them some questions, and one of those things was, well, where are you? Where are you in the universe? And she said, I am not telling you. I am not telling you. She said, we know about you and your kind. And she said, we cannot have you understand and know where we are because we can't trust you. You're not to be trusted. We know, we've been watching you, we've observed you, we know how much you hurt each other. You are a risk to our world. and we can't have you knowing where we are, she said.
Yeah,
She
amazing.
said, I refuse to tell you where we are.
I want to share something that I experienced.
That's why it's like invite them in. It's like, yeah, because I've seen destruction from the human beings. I was walking down just by the water and I'm like, I saw trash. You just washed up. You just sometimes it's like, man, why? There is a lot of destruction that comes from being humans. If you're in a low vibrational, you're just there for gold, there for money, there for
Gas.
yeah. And it's just yeah. I understand that. I think that's very wise of the Lyrians.
And I mean, look what's going on in our planet today. With Israel and Gaza, Israel and Lebanon, Israel and Iran, and even the U.S. I mean, they're caught up in all this kind of dynamics and as well. And I mean, is that the path of our future?
Yes,
Is that just what we're evolving to?
Yes.
No.
We
have to evolve beyond those.
Yes.
But that's collapsing.
I experienced something that I remember that I saw this light. I've never felt so much peace, so much love, so much I've never.
Yeah.
There was someone talking to me and saying that if I wanted to stay there or if I wanted to, keep going. And I remember saying that I wanted to stay with my mom because my mom needed me.
Right.
Which right now I kind of understand the why. But ever since I remember, I kind of felt that I'm not from here. I've never felt like this is home. Yeah. Even though right now I feel home in this 3D, but I still is I want to go home. And I've always felt it's I can't. My heart, my soul, whenever I see something, it's I can't. I just don't understand the amount of harm that we can make to each other. It's just in my heart just cannot bear it, right? And so with this, what I'm learning, every time that I learn and every time that I see, it's oh, okay. So we're here to evolve, right? We're here. I know that for what I've learned is that humanity started, or they kind of they were doing some experiments with the earth in which they were trying to see how we evolve, or that's why my understanding where there are different species. I think the Anunnaki were one of the ones that they were involved in this situation, and there's where there's the Darwin. There's one link that it's lost, and that's where they kind of come into the DNA changing for us to get to that fast forward the evolution towards where we are right now. But still, there's still not that evolution that they would want it to, and they kind of letting us having that those lessons that we have to go through. And just like you're saying, some of them, they don't want to know about us. They're kind of I don't want to know anything about you, because for what I know is that they're wanting to know and knowing what is the emotions, because the earth is a different school in which we are learning something that they're not experiencing any other planet, right?
Right.
So, and then that's when it comes with the reptilians and all that we were talking about, the control that is there, the economy, the patterns, the generational patterns that they have taught us for so many years. And I want to ask, is that come from the from divinity, or divinity kind of let that happen for the other species to kind of experiment with us, with the planet, and control? And there's the war maybe with the reptilians. Do you think?
Well, I mean, I met the Anunnaki.
Did you?
I don't know. I was this is one of the other visitations I had. I would say it's probably the most terrifying one that I had.
Oh yeah.
And how what I understood from my meeting them in another like astral. I showed up on their ship. They figured like, how the hell did you get here, Shawn? Like they didn't know my name, and I wasn't going to tell them my name either.
Good idea.
But they really wanted to know who I was and where I came from and where I lived, and I was like, no, I'm not telling you that.
Wow.
And I knew they were trying to get in my head to figure it out too, but I wouldn't tell them because I knew I was at danger if I did. But my understanding from the Anunnaki, and I'm going to say there must be some kind of cross connection between the Anunnaki and the reptilians.
There is a connection.
There is a connection. And they told me that they owned Earth.
Mm-hmm. Who did the
Anunnakis
own?
That they have their own road in the universe in many different worlds, and that they see themselves as our creator. And they see us as being owned by them. And I said, well, no, you don't know this.
Yes.
I said, we've evolved beyond this. And they didn't believe me. And I said, no, we have. And I said, well, and I told them, I asked them, I said, well, when was the last time you were at Earth? Mm-hmm. It's been a while. But, that's what they said. It's been a while since I've been there. And there's a whole, let's say, call it a royalty line.
Yeah.
Because I met, I'll say, 3 of the ladies that said they were sisters of what they called their king. And they haven't seen the king in a long time themselves because they're so vastly far apart in the universe. But they still operate according to their code. And they still said that they owned Earth. And this is the really cool, ironic part because, if you see depictions of people in Egypt, mm-hmm. they're not that far from us and what we look like. If you look at the Egyptian people with the long hats and the long heads, mm-hmm. Under those hats that are long are heads that are long. And so they have an elongated head, but they look humanoid in the face, but their teeth are sharp, as opposed to like normal. And that's the reptilian part that is still there. That's in them. And they were very tall. I'd say probably 7 to 8 feet tall.
So this was the Anunnaki?
The Anunnaki, yes.
So they're not cute like us, but bigger, more grandeur.
Taller. I only met
taller,
women,
but
some of the Greys were with them. And I think that they've enslaved some of the Grey race to kind of... Because, I mean, there's different species, and I feel like they own certain worlds and such, and they've enslaved different planets and such, and they think that, we belong to them. But I think we've evolved beyond their control.
Yeah.
And I think they realize that.
We evolve beyond their control.
Yes.
We have.
Because I heard...
They're still trying... I still feel like they're trying to control us. But we've evolved beyond their ability to do something to us.
So what about...
Because we could destroy them.
Really?
And I think they know it.
Really?
So
and why? In what
and this
sense?
Is something they wouldn't tell me, but psychically when I met them, they were trying to get in my head, but as they were getting in mine, I was getting in theirs. And because that telepathy, I was seeing what they were hiding. And I was seeing that they had fear of humanity.
Really?
Because we have now evolved to a place that we could hurt them. Even in the worlds when they exist, not too far away, there is this kind of fear. Some of these species like the Arcturians, where they do not have fear.
Yeah.
They understand that we are their brothers and sisters. There was this unconditional love, and some of the Greys are like that too. But then there's some enslaved Greys with Anunnaki that were kind of almost robotic in a sense, but they had to do the bidding of whatever the Anunnaki wanted. This is something I did see that was really kind of out there too, because when I was on their ship, they had big capsules. There was 3 capsules, and inside the capsules were humans, and they were naked, and there were 3 identical men, like cloned men. And I don't know, I couldn't understand why, but these bodies were in these capsules on the craft.
So they were maybe the people that they extract from here?
I don't know. They might be using those. I don't know if they've taken a person and cloned them. But I think they're trying to figure out how to move their spirit into the bodies.
Okay.
Their consciousness into the human...
And place them on Earth.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I think that they're trying to do with regards to control. But I'm not 100% sure.
So
this is a belief or thought I had when I saw the clones. There was no soul or spirit in the body.
They were just...
But they were alive. but they were able to kind of move their consciousness, or maybe there was a way that they were able to kind of move their consciousness into one of the bodies to move or come to Earth, and we would not know who they are.
Do you know? Have you heard about Thoth, one of the sons of? He civilized Egypt. He's responsible for the Emerald tablets. I don't know if you've seen those.
I've heard of
inscribed
yes.
keys of life. But he would always present, "I'm the son of Atlantis," and when they established, he was
Well, Atlantis still exists on Mother Earth. I mean, we just think it doesn't.
It's just bingo. I mean, but he. They suggest that he had all, those esophagus, or whatever those big kind of coffins upright in solid stone, massive.
I've seen them. Yeah.
That was because he would take different forms. He would have a bird kind of looking head, and then he'll be human, but they say he was able to transfer his consciousness, just like with your DNA. You've got a hard drive. I'm going to put it into that, and then you upload it to a new body. Yeah. Hence why they could live for hundreds. They revisit as a ginger, red-headed man.
Yeah.
And then they revisit, but as a woman, they were able to transfer in their technology to be able to do that, which I think is fascinating.
I feel like there's a natural way that we all can do this.
Yeah.
I feel like we've all been beings in other worlds prior to this world, because
like I said
before, none of us, there wasn't that many people here on this planet, but until now.
Right.
Yes.
If you go back billions of years, where were we before then? Did we just exist in only light? No, I'm sure we've been living lifetimes in other worlds, right? But we've come here now to learn and grow through this evolutional process. But I do feel like through the natural process that we can, because I believe that I may have been Arcturian in another lifetime, and I've come here to live probably about 20,000 more years ago. This is just a belief I have. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But I believe that I was an Arcturian myself. And when I connected to these people, they seemed like my brothers, my sisters, my family. I knew them on a deeper level than just this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And they recognized me too. So even though I'm in this form here now and I'm living this life, and you are from for how many lives that you've had here, we're probably all from other worlds.
Yeah.
And we've evolved and grown to experience in this life in this world right now, and eventually that we'll move beyond this world too and somewhere else, and our soul group or soul family and will go with us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a natural way of doing this, and there's an unnatural way. And I feel like maybe the Anunnaki maybe have figured out an unnatural way to kind of do that.
Agreed.
Wow.
I don't know. Yes, there's ways with technology. It's kind of unnatural. It's unnatural to withdraw X amount of resources from the Earth all at once, like big. Do you know what I mean? It's just there's unnatural ways of doing things, and then there's the flow of Mother Earth, this planet. Yeah. And if we're in harmony with that, there's abundance everywhere. There's
abundance now.
No one will be in that.
We're only taught that there's lack and separation. There's not enough, and fear and
fear.
So this is a belief system that we've all been taught. And if we were able to see things differently and approach life differently, we see it differently. But that would have to change within our governments, and it's up to our governments to start seeing this in a different way.
What about the reptilians? Because I've been listening to a lot of that theory. There's a lot of the elite will be the reptilians, so I don't know if there's something like that, which makes kind of sense for me with what you're saying, in that not natural way to do it, that maybe the reptilians are doing the same, and they're kind of like being the elite, where they're trying to control humans by
belief systems.
Yes, belief systems.
It's already happening.
Anxiety. And right now, I feel that with all of this awareness that people are having, and it's this.
But then, so that is true.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe that to be true. There may be people in the world that are creating a false reality that they want to control us by, and we've been following this kind of like dilemma or dogmatic type of like principle from religion to all different things. That has been happening in the world for a while. And but I do feel like then you have to ask yourself, why have you come here? it's one thing to point out, what's wrong, but what could possibly go right with you being here? Who are you, and what are you here to bring to this world?
I've had thought of that since I was a little girl.
So do you know?
Yes. No,
It's a
I've
big
had
one,
that.
but it's
Yes,
amazing
yes.
though.
We have a responsibility.
We do.
We've come into this
100%.
life not by accident.
No.
We're not here with a false narrative or an agenda to kind of like take over the world and control it with false narratives.
No.
So it's when we realize who we truly are, and to move out of this understanding of lack or separation or fear, then that if we can live our life from that space, and everybody can else start moving their life from that space, and that's what all the ascended masters, the people that have evolved to a certain place that have come into this world, whether it be Gandhi or Jesus or Buddha or whoever, they were all ascended masters, right? They're the people that have evolved beyond this understanding of this false narrative of fear.
Yeah.
Separation or lack.
Yeah.
And they move through life in such a way to show people that that's not the reality.
Yes.
And so we've all come here to remember that reality and shift our world in such a way that no longer has power. Other civilizations have done it because I've seen it. So that means it's possible for us.
See, when my grandpa died, or before my grandpa died, he kind of like told me, hey, have I ever left something in you? Did I leave a legacy with you? And, he kind of like started doing that because he felt that he was unworthy. And I'm mentioning this because kind of like I'm realizing right now that he came here to show us all the patterns that we have, that he had, or he lived at some point. And that he did leave a legacy, maybe not the one that he was thinking of, being someone that, oh yes, I'm here making a difference in the world. But he did make a difference, at least in my world, right? And he was here for me. I know that there was a purpose for me to be raised by him to get to this point. Because if it wouldn't be for him, I would not be here delivering this message, right? I know that for sure.
You wouldn't be here unless all those 7 generations before you have lived the lives they had to bring you here to this moment.
Exactly.
So your plan transcends 7 generations prior to you at least.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Including your grandfather.
Yes. And what I'm trying to see, and what I want to share with the audience is that, because I've heard this for many people, it's like, oh, maybe I'm not here for any reason. I'm like, why am I here? And it's like, the smallest thing that you think that it's going to make a big impact in someone else. And you're coming to give that impact. So don't ever doubt yourself that you're not worthy or that you're not going to do anything. Even if you're not going to do anything that is out there in the show that people, you're coming here, just the small things that you're planting into the people, right?
What can each of us control within our life and our reality? I mean, you don't have to be an author. You don't have to have a TV show. You don't have to be on podcasts like your grandfather. If all you can control is being the best mom you can be, an unconditional loving person to every person you meet, and be kind and generous to a person that may be in trouble and needs help. And it doesn't mean you don't have boundaries. Sometimes you need boundaries with people just so that you can live a good, balanced, and well life. But give and do and be what you can be while you're here, because you've been given this time. Don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
You've come into this world to live this experience through your struggles, to move beyond the struggles, to not identify with the abuse, to not identify with alcoholism that your family's gone through, to move beyond that and through that, to live presently and wholeheartedly and shift and change the world from your little reality, which then will change the reality of someone else, just like your grandfather's done for you. And then that ripples out in a bigger way. And if we all can start to see life in a much bigger and broader way, then we become the ascended masters. And then we become the world that lives in harmony. We become the world that lives in balance, and we become the people that live and walk through life in a good way.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'll be telling this to John. Like, for some reason, we met for some reason. I'm like, we're doing this for some reason. Like, there's no coincidence for anything in this world. So, Do you wanna share what you were saying that we're talking about the species as well, in which someone told you that you might have come from a place where you were like a dolphin company?
Oh, fish, amphibious?
Yeah, humanoid dolphin.
Yeah. Well, there's a species, or it was a species.
Oh yeah.
And if you look at the Dogon tribe from 20,000 years ago, there was a species that was brought to this earth by the Greys that was an amphibious being type of people that could potentially be connected to the whole Atlantis thing.
Because there's been a whole activation about, like, people call them mer people.
Yeah, I mean,
But just like in the oceans and just life in the oceans, the only thing I regret is I can't hold my breath long enough to really get down to the depths of the oceans.
If you follow the human evolution genetic code through all of Mother Earth, you're coming from the sea.
Yeah. Every culture, like ancient races, ancient cultures, because their deity that the people give credit for civilizing the cultures, that they came from the sea.
Yeah.
They all came from the sea.
It doesn't mean that life doesn't still exist in the sea. I mean,
No.
today we have whales, we have dolphins, we have porpoises.
The ocean, compared to space, let's just say, have we ever gone to the moon? It's another topic, but compared to space, has been very neglected in ocean exploration.
Oh, I know.
There's so much of the ocean we have no idea.
Just the way our species is built and the way that we get to explore our world it's hard for us to explore the ocean as much as we'd like to. And I think as we evolve further, and that was one thing that the Arcturian told me. He said, Shawn, before you learn how to move through space, you better learn how to move through water first. He said, because
what I believe
you don't know how to move through water yet.
Yeah.
And he says, once you move through water without the water touching you, you'll be able to move through space where you'll transcend space and time without it touching you.
We've got some.
Have that connection.
We've got work ahead of it. Like, so he mentioned, he said, so learn to be in water without touching it.
Because the water is a limitation. When you're moving through it, there's friction. It slows you down. It stops you. Its pressure retains you from going to the deepest parts of the ocean.
Yeah.
Right? Because the water is still touching you. But if you're able to manipulate energy in such a way, and this is what he was telling me, and it had to do with the sun, by the way. He told me, because he showed me how they make their crafts. He says, we fuse our crafts together in space because we don't need to weld them, because he says fusion happens in space naturally. When you touch metal together, there's no welding it. It just becomes one piece. Our crafts have no seams, he said. And he says, we energize it with through sunlight. And they showed me like a band of ships that were far from their planet, but closer to the sun. And they were somehow using the energy of the sun to change the molecular structure of the metal that become magnetized or gravitized, he said, in some way. Wow. That would then be activated so that we'd be able to then move through space-time without space-time touching it. But he says, this is way too deep for you, Shawn. He says, you have to understand this on your world. You have to learn then to make these metals without seams that are strong. And you may be able to do this in space because you're moving there now. He says, but then you're going to have to be able to utilize the energy of the sun, which could be fusion energy of some sort. Fusion energy and fusion propulsion or plasma, because even within us, there's a plasma that exists. And a plasma within the craft itself. And the plasma is alive because, grandfather's sun is life. It's unconditional loving life that is there. Yeah. So he said, if you take this and put it together by utilizing the energy of the sun and move it through water, the water will no longer touch you, and you'll be able to move anywhere you want to, underwater, through water, and the water will no longer touch your craft. He said, but you have to figure that out first before you move into space further.
Wow.
I would have
known. What does the orca means? Because I've always had these dreams. I've always had this connection with the sea.
With who? The orcas?
Yes.
Yes, I'm not sure about the medicine that the orcas carry, because that's more of a West Coast, traditional indigenous teaching culture thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I would do your search online of like thinking how they walk through life. They're very kind of like, they walk through life in a very kind of unique and distinct way. Obviously, they're very like the Wolf Nation in some sense, because they have family packs. They hunt together. They travel together. The orcas. And so there's like a medicine that they carry in life. I mean, they're very intelligent.
They are.
I mean, I think it's just a fallacy that we think that, animals aren't intelligent, right? Mm-hmm. They are super intelligent. Mm-hmm. I just heard, it was on Joe Rogan. I actually heard an interview just yesterday, actually, with some guy talking about a parrot. And this one parrot and how intelligent he was. And he says, it's like a certain gray parrot. And he's like one of the smartest birds that you can have. And you have to be a special type of person to have this gray parrot, because this gray parrot was able to talk. And he had a very vast vocabulary. But this is the cool part. Before he had died and he was really ill, he says, what's happening to me and where am I going? So he's contemplating where he moves beyond his form. So
the parrot.
So I think, we make, because they don't have the vocabulary to communicate to us, doesn't mean they don't think it.
But the consciousness that the parrot had, oh my God.
Yes, it's amazing. And I just heard this yesterday. And I thought that's an amazing way to communicate to humanity, that they have thoughts and about the process of their own lifetime and what transcends their life. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was cool. But animals have their own spirit, and their own energy medicine they bring to the world, their own evolution and what they're here for. And without every part of every animal and every plant within the world, there would not be a world itself. And that's why I think we're human nation. We think we're just going to pollute our rivers, pollute our oceans, rip out the oil, frack everything, and think that somehow, when are we going to realize that? And this is something part of the White Buffalo prophecy of the White Buffalo Calf woman is like, when are we going to realize we can't eat money?
Yeah.
When are we going to realize that we can't live in a world that has no resources, of life? Yes. The resources aren't just gold and minerals and oil, and yet we pollute everything and destroy it. And the indigenous people have known this for a long time. The Arcturian people have known it and still remain to know it. And we know it today. And in the depths of all of our souls, we know we have to care for our Mother Earth to sustain life that we exist upon here, right? But, it's an evolution, and hopefully we figure it out before it's too late. That's what I say.
Is there any prediction that you have in that sense? Because that's something that I said to Joe, I've seen, I don't know what I've seen, that at some point we're going to do like a community. And I've been telling him, hey, you know what? We need to understand and how to understand, to learn how to do, and go back to the kind of like the beginning in which we have to use the resources that the land is giving us, because at some point we're going to have to need this.
Right, absolutely. And maybe this is what happens in the world. Maybe there's a plan that we don't know, and I don't know that. Maybe there will be a great war, again, like a World War III or something, that puts us back so far that we have to return back to our roots, right? Mm-hmm. Live off the land again, if it's good enough to live off of. And eventually we'll heal, right? Mm-hmm. Like Mother Earth is very much like our body. We may rip our arm off, but we'll still be able to live life. Mm-hmm. We may have a few cuts and bruises all over body. They may heal, it may take time. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that's not the case, that we can stay intact, and that there's no nuclear bombs going off the world. I have a fear, a big fear, that there's going to be 2 nukes that go off down the road somewhere. And it's just a matter of time before that happens. And maybe we'll take a step back and then we'll say, listen, we're destroying ourselves.
So is that a prediction that you've seen?
I've seen it, but I don't know. When I see things, not everything is literal. Sometimes it's a figurative sense. But this is the potential for humanity if we continue down a certain path.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe it is literal. I don't know. But I know when I see things that there's a reason for it. Mm-hmm. And I've seen something like that, and it scared me. I've seen Gaza before it all happened. Yes. And it did kind of transpire in the way that it did, because I saw, I'll show you, I'll let you in on the vision that I had before everything went down between Israel. They've been warring forever. Mm-hmm. But I had this one dream particularly where I was in Israel, And I was there and I met Jesus, and I was asking why he would not come back. And he said, if I come back, they'll just kill me again.
I know. Yeah, I agree.
He says, how many times do I have to die before you know?
Yeah.
You're just going to continue to kill me over and over and over again? Because they will. They'll continue. Doesn't matter what message I have. If I walk into Gaza, he says, they will kill me.
So how did that...
And that's the part of humanity where I'm like, I want to check out, my friends, because that's crazy. Repeat. It's like,
so in the
how many years ago was Jesus? And we're still like, oh, he's reserved to come back. Because he's like the rest of humanity.
From the other side.
It's crazy.
Like a master teacher guide, right? So he's doing what he can from the spirit of all of us. And I know it connects to different people, different times to inspire us, right? I don't think he's too connected to religion at all, because I don't think that was never his intention.
He wasn't.
Well,
he challenged the system of religion.
Born again Christianity. It wasn't what he had in his mind or vision, right?
Yes.
It's about getting out there, helping people, and being a healer and teacher, and living off the land and things like this naturally.
And not being famous for that, right?
No.
It was just a sense that he wanted to give the legacy, the just to teach it so with people.
And they killed him for it.
Even if it kills him, he was still going to live by his code. Like how he sees life. He wasn't going to change because he was scared.
Yeah.
And so when I saw the whole vision of Gaza in Israel, like some years back, and I even I posted about it, I believe, or shared it with my group, my Spirit Talker Tribe group, that I saw this earthquake that took place between Israel and Gaza, and I saw the molten lava coming up through the ground and this great divide, and then I saw all nothing but destruction and ruin. But I set out for Gaza, but I'm eventually going to see it for Israel too, because I feel like that one day it's going to ultimately, their demise of this hatred that they have for, and I understand, not liking terrorists, obviously, because with the Hezbollah and all that. I mean, sure, terrorists, but you don't wipe out. If there was like 200 people in Canada that terrorized, some people and killed like 30 or 40 people, would you destroy Canada? No, that's obviously not the right approach, right? But this is the way they're approaching things, and what you put out comes back to you. This is the reciprocal nature of life. What you put out will come back to you. So what they're putting out and doing to others will come back to them, and it will destroy them.
But I know like I've been an avid studier of the Bible.
Yes.
There's lots of things for shits and giggles, for fun. I got a lot from it. I wasn't forced. It was very open, and I got a lot. But
some of it's mythology.
Some of it. But then there's also the genealogy of different tribes and all the functional stuff. And it's just like time and time again, it comes back to, it's just like, okay, the God of Israel tells them to wipe out other cultures, all the children, all the animals, all the cattle. Do not take anything for yourself.
Yeah.
And it was like written, that was the God Almighty saying that. I'm like, what?
That's not.
You literally wiped, but you could see it. They took over Israel, where Israel is now. It didn't belong to them. They killed off tribes. They killed off the tribe of giants, which I could be from. They just literally, they take over and it's like, no, this is the promised land. And now they're causing destruction thousands of years later, just on this little bit of land that it didn't belong to them in the first place. They were guided, it seemed.
The virus that exists amongst humanity, the mental mind virus that exists.
What is that?
Is the separation of thinking that we're Israel, we're Canada, we're the United States. We are the human nation. We're upon Mother Earth together here, supporting each other.
Yeah.
And each country should be there to try and help all countries to be successful.
Yeah.
And to come together. And there should be no one man that sits at the top that makes decisions that destroys people.
Yeah.
There should be groups of people that vote upon, like a council that votes upon the betterment of their nation and the betterment of all people of the world.
Yes.
The thing is, what I'm learning, you got kingship. I know it can be related. Do we need kings? But really, what we do need is for people to understand, what does it mean for kingship? Legitimacy, sovereignty. But it's something, the king, for example, the king of England, it's just like, do you have the right? Do you have the sovereignty for your people? Are you connected with your people and land? How back in the days kingship was. They had deep connection with the land, and they looked out for their people. They provided for their people. I don't see any kingship today, despite the monarchy in different countries. It's just like it's a violation of what it was once.
Yes, but you know where that came from? The Anunnaki.
Really?
It's been given to humanity.
What's that?
They see themselves as a kingship of different planets and owners of, despite the thought and the inspiration that has come that we may perceive as gods or angels or as such, are just beings that operate from a space that is not in alignment with the universe of it's still this separation, what is mine, and fear and control. That's how it's operated here for so long, and we have to move beyond that. That way of thinking started hundreds of thousands of years ago in this world. We were taught it. And it still exists today. And it's still reinforced, unfortunately. And we have to move beyond that.
There shouldn't be any borders, there shouldn't be any, like you say, no kings, no governments, really.
Well, there still could be borders. Doesn't mean you don't have a border, but it doesn't mean that, it'd be like saying I can't have a town. I live in Elmsdale, but really, am I gearing up to keep everybody in Elmsdale?
No, right.
That's what I'm saying. That not keep them out.
We still have places and place names. But the fear around not having enough has got to end.
Oh, totally. So you think that comes from the Anunnaki?
It does. Because when I met them, that's the mindset that they operated from.
Okay, so the mindset, give me some key point words. So basically, would you just say very possessive, control, this is mine, you work for us?
That we belong to them. The earth was theirs. And they were the princesses of the king who owned many worlds and things like this.
Controlling oppression.
This sounds very like a kingship of earth, and there's no way that we've had these beliefs unless it's been taught to us or given to us by somebody, maybe back from the Egyptian times or even beyond the Egyptian times, right? Because
there's that wrong. Interesting. Because I know
they died off. But the whole thing of the lineage started back then too, because then that's why they had the lineage of because the bloodline of the Anunnaki was being diluted over time through humanity. But they still people that claim that they're of that line.
It's very interesting because there is that corruption of kingship. Going back to the Bible, Israel, right? The Israelites are in their land, and they would just have judges. It was more of a community, elders. It was more of a community sort of setup. But the people, you know what they pushed for? We want a king. And then the Almighty God, you don't need a king. I will not give it. But the people kept pushing, stubborn. That's what I know.
Because they need somebody to lead them. And Almighty God, Yahweh, whatever you want, will say you don't, and then they find, and he goes, all right, you could choose this guy, and then that's where it seemed their rule went to shit. What was that
over the generation?
Movie, Gladiator.
I
love that movie because, and there's a reason for that, is because I feel like at the movie when Caesar died, right? His son wanted to control all of Rome. Right? But what did Caesar say? He gave to, I think his name was Leonidas, I don't know, in the movie, but he's like, I want you to take this to the council, and I want to end the kingship, and I want the Senate to now rule Rome, and we stop warring and doing this. I think that is, that there's a truth there in that movie of how humanity could be approached, but there's always the one person that controls the narrative, that changes it so that it never goes back to what's best for the world or the people. It's what's best for us and my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I know.
that's how the world is continuing to operate today, unfortunately.
And then you get the bloodlines, like it's the royalty, like again, going back to the Celtic, even the Greeks.
But that's
one person will be in politics. They take about different families around Greece. They only be in that position for 1 year, and that's it. Never again.
Well, it's kind of silly, right?
It's just like give them a chance. These are a fishing community. You bring it in, but now it's like, no, we've got 7. I don't even know the political structure these days. It doesn't
replace
be
kings with a prime minister or a president.
Yeah, and then it's like, they do 4 years, but in like going back,
how much damage can one person do in 4 years, right?
A lot. It turns out,
Apparently a lot.
and back in the time where Julius Caesar was fighting the Celts or the Gauls, it was a clash of cultures.
Yeah.
You see it, and they nearly annihilated the Celts.
And you know what I see happening in the world that I think is good, though?
Yeah.
Like, and I know that we've been taught to believe that, like, China is, like, bad.
Is it? Like, but why,
China,
though?
Because they're communists, and there is, like, one leader that's really not voted in, and,
Right.
Or he could be voted in, who knows? I'm not 100% sure, but maybe not. But he's like he never gets out of office until he dies, right? He controls the whole thing. But I feel like they're in the place that we least expected in the world, and we think that the Americas or Europe or such are the good people. I feel what we're going to see is China is shifting. And they're going to then lead the world in such a way that we come together as opposed to being separate.
Bingo. Yeah.
Because we
good.
have lost our way on Turtle Island. We've lost our way. I know that, the Canadian government's trying to separate from the U.S. and, we're trying to wash our hands of it and say, okay, we no longer can align with you because of certain values that we're doing, right?
Yeah.
This is not what the UN, Geneva and all this is all connected to. So we can't align with this anymore. But I feel like China's stepping up in a way to say, maybe we have to change the world. It doesn't mean that they don't punish criminals or...
No. But because it's, again, we as the West project what we would do as a culture to other countries. They want to take over the world, dominating rule.
Well,
it's like, why did people, that's the first result they want to take over. But if you ask them, it's like, no, we have no interest in taking over. And I just seen
a sign of this recently, and I'll tell you why. Because, the U.S. is propagating this theory that China's trying to take over Thailand. And that might be true, right? That they've been surrounding China with their ships. Maybe they're preparing to take it over for whatever reason, because they feel it's part of their colonies. I don't feel like they're going to destroy everybody there like Russia's destroying Ukraine and such like this.
Yeah.
But just the other day, either the prime minister or the premier of Thailand went to China and met with the prime minister, and that's the first ever in a long, long time that they've come together to talk.
Good. Wow. Yeah.
So is he looking for a way to compromise where we can be stronger together?
Yeah.
And you can be you, but you're still a Republic of China. We don't need to fight in war, but I think that we're better together than we are separate.
Yeah.
And I see that taking place, and that's not news. That's not, we're being told, and the news narrative on TV that everybody's being told all the time is that China's bad.
Yeah.
The U.S. is like...
They're going to take what's ours that we've rightfully built. They're going to take it.
The U.S. is doing no wrong, and we're starting to see the world differently. Yeah. And finally, some curtains are coming down about the control and narrative that's taking place within the world and what's happening with Israel and the control over the USA and such like that. It's sad. But they can't dominate the whole world, but they're using the whole mentality between Israel and the USA. I feel like that's that Anunnaki mentality that it's not going to work for the evolution of humanity.
It isn't. Yes, it's that I feel like Mother Earth is rejecting it, like squeezing out.
We are Mother Earth.
Well,
we are Mother Earth.
It's shaking off like a giant dog, all the fleas and debris. I feel like, we are.
Friend or enemies, we need to befriend, because that's just the thing about unconditional love. If we're going to move from our source, and I just did this exercise with my students last night in my Spirit Talking Tribe class, because I have a whole module in year 2 on ascended masters and unconditional love. But, I have people do this meditation where you can visualize yourself, being, bringing somebody that you love into your space in a meditative space, right?
Yeah.
And then you bring yourself into the space and you love yourself equally as you love this other person.
Yeah.
Some people struggle with loving themselves, right?
That is
But then bring in your
Yeah.
enemy. Bring in the person that you struggle with the most, and then love them too.
Yeah.
And because the energy that you send has power. So when we're being conditioned through news, media, social media, all this, of like separation, anxiety, fear, war, fighting, famine, how about we start to see Iran as our brothers and sisters, as family?
Yeah.
How about we give them their independence? And I mean, I don't think anybody should have nuclear weapons, and especially probably the U.S. and Israel and Russia and whoever. Maybe
And
there
England.
should be like a that we
just
destroy
like
them all,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But we have to learn to love our enemies, and that's a fundamental truth that Jesus,
That compassion,
an
right?
ascended master, had brought to this world. And this is something that, if we can shift our consciousness, and we can help our Mamalay, our politicians, our neighbors see that too, then our enemies see it.
But what are
Then we'll
enemies
change the
though?
world together.
Right. But isn't that a belief system in itself? Enemies.
Yes, we
You're
have to
my
change our
enemy.
beliefs.
Yeah.
One of unification and
The
not
the
separation.
Arcturians don't seem to have that. Enemies. They understand they might need to flee because but they don't seem to have
They're
that.
not warring with anybody.
Bingo. But they know how to be at war if they need be, or escape, or
I did not see one weapon.
Really.
Not one weapon.
And they're like warrior, like tribal in that. No.
Zero.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's because I feel that when you
Good for
have
them,
that
yeah.
warrior thing, it's still that part of that ego. Like for me, everything love and compassion and like understanding and seeing eye to eye, and I know that you can be a warrior in another way, like the strength that you have to go through a certain difficult situation, right? Because you need strength to be able to go through a pain like that. And for me, that would be a warrior where you are actually,
Absolutely.
but not towards warrior as a lady. Let's get together so we can,
We're bigger than our body.
Yes.
We're greater than our body.
Yeah.
We'll exist beyond this body.
Yes.
So you may have the courage or, humility to face a certain thing in life, and that you're going through. Yes, that you may need to embody those things in this body to face it, to go through it. But you're greater than this body itself.
Yes, definitely. Did you want to share the
Tuide Danan. I don't know if you've heard of those mystical tribe based before the humanization of Ireland. There was a race, the Tuide Danan, Irish, but they only were around, sadly, for a couple of 100 years, maybe. They were there. They were sort of an interesting. They had technology, but it was more. But they had a good relationship with, obviously, Ireland, the land, and they were pretty awesome. Some people will call them gods because I always, when someone goes, "Oh, they're gods," it's like, is it because they know more than you, or they might know about, if you like the Arcturians, if you take it to the sun, the metal naturally fuses. You don't need welding. But you're like, oh my God, they're gods. I didn't know that.
Yes, it's just
you see,
wisdom.
it's our perspective. But anyway, really interesting tribe. But I feel like in the last 2-3 weeks, a lot of activation in me, like memories. Are they memories? I don't know. But just, it's like they're talking to me. Yeah. They're sort of presenting. I had an experience where I experienced acceptance, love, and it was a friend's birthday party. I was very honoured to be welcomed in. And during that time, it was like, this is beautiful. I felt it. I embodied it. It's like, this is amazing. Real acceptance, real love. And then, but I also saw an energetic form. There was something else, an entity, a presence, female. I'm like, this is ancient. Who are you? I didn't know you. And so, again, I was, tell me who you are, tell me who you are. But then I was like, whoa, are you? I'm ready. I'd like to meet you.
Right.
I don't know who you are. If that's something, that healthy respect, may I enter? But it was again, the last 2 weeks, I've just been having amazing.
That's awesome.
Like I was a mess because I experienced this love, except from a group of people, and I was like, "What is going on?"
I thought
But
there
it was
like a link with the with that with that presence.
yeah, and I think it was like, and again, who is it? Labels. But just making those connections, man, it's just like, oh, hello, who are you?
Well, just like I teach in my book, Walking with Your Spirit Totems, right? There's different stages of life.
Yeah.
And as you have different totems that may present themselves to you at different stages of life.
Yeah.
We do actually have to do humanoid guides as well. And my guides, I have 3 that I know of right now that I'm aware of that work with me from time to time. There's one that prominently works with me. Her name's Victoria.
Victoria. Yeah.
And I record her. Actually, I have recordings of her talking to me. I record her at different times. I'll be out doing different things, and I'll record her in the background saying things sometimes. So I know that she's there. This is not like a figment of my imagination.
Wow.
She's actually real.
Yeah.
She's not like evil or dark.
No.
She's in some way.
Yeah.
She's there helping me and guiding me. That's her job.
Yeah.
And but when I was growing up, I had one guide predominant. His name was Sam. Sam. And I played with Sam as a little kid. I remember him, and I'd tell my mom about Sam, and my mom would say that, I don't know who the hell Sam is. I know your Sam's your uncle, and he lives in Newfoundland. I just talked to him on the phone, so I know he's not dead. I'm like, well, no, this guy's like a curly kind of dirty blonde hair, his piercing blue eyes, he's wearing a long white robe, and he'd show up from time to time and tell me different things, right? And then one day he said, Shawn, just so you know, I'm going to have to leave you. You're not going to be able to see or hear me the way you do anymore, but just so you know, I'm always going to be with you. You just won't experience me the way you do. I'm like, okay. And then I'm downstairs playing with my little cars in the basement of my mom's home, and a big light opened up, like I saw my dad kind of step out of it, and boom, he went through it and he was gone. Wow. And I felt alone. So I had this one fellow named Sam with me. Then as I grew and matured through life in a different stage of life, like the infancy, youth, adult, elder stage of life, right? I had another guy present himself to me, and her name was Victoria. And Victoria was like amazingly nice and kind of very Gaelic, Celtic kind of connection to her. And when I met her, was in like the hills of Scotland or Norway or something like that.
Yeah.
She even spoke with really breathy kind of voice. And, when I record her, she even has that voice sometimes still. Oh. And so she presented herself to me, and she showed up many times, and I've recorded her over the years doing different things like paranormal investigations or things like that. I'll have people around, I'll record, and sometimes I'll record her in the background saying different things. She's there. So she's a guide, but she didn't present herself to me until this particular stage of life. Now, as I matured, now I'm like close to 53, I've had another guide come to me in a dream and connect to me, and she looks vastly different. She's kind of got shoulder length, dark hair, heavier set lady, and I didn't know who she was. And I'll tell you the story of how I learned her name. I had because I filmed Spirit Talker, and the producer of Spirit Talker said, "Hey, Shawn, we'd love to do a show about unsolved crimes. How do you think about? How do you feel about doing something like that?" And well, I'm not quite sure, but she goes, "Well, there's this one case locally that you might want to look into. It has to do with Gerald Cotton, who is a Bitcoin millionaire who extorted money from people and disappeared pretty much because he apparently went to India, got married, got really sick and died at a young age. But that's when they discovered that he was extorting all this money from people. And then they brought his body home and apparently buried him, which I don't believe. So he said, can you look into it and see if he's still alive? So I had, let's call it a seance. And I had all my spiritual buddies and friends over, and we're doing a little spirit circle and some candles lit. I invited them in, and I invited Gerald Cotton to connect to me, and I had my recorder out. Yeah. And I didn't get Gerald Cotton, so I know he's still alive.
Wow.
And his death has been, it's another body that's in the ground. And so,
Wow.
anyway, but what I did
You did. So, okay, so you would have technically connected with him if he had.
I could have, or my guides would have helped me know that he was like gone. And he, there's a reason why he wasn't talking to me, because he didn't want to tell me.
Yes.
Right. He's hiding something.
Unless he's earthbound, because he could be an earthbound spirit that hasn't moved on to the other side because of the stuff that he's done. That's a potential possibility too. But my belief is that he's still alive, and somehow his death has been faked.
Wow.
So in a
and I won't get into details.
In a seance,
can you? If I say something,
does when you're doing the seance and you connect, are you able to? Can you connect with people that are already live?
Yes, sometimes I can record them.
Whoa. That's the
best.
best.
So you get to recorder, and sometimes you can hear them in the background saying something to me, or talking to me, or talking when we're having a conversation.
Do you think those spirits are in another dimension?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. So that's why we don't see it, right? Because we're
just as we were
vibration.
talking, I saw, and many people probably experience this, because even though in the dreams where I've had this vision where my dad stepped out of the light, many times when we're sitting around having spiritual conversations, I may see over somebody's shoulder, I'll see a little pinprick of pure white light that just appears.
Really? Yeah.
And it's just for a moment. There's a little spark, and goes blink, or a little blink up there, and it's just for a moment. And it's like for moments, I know our guides, our ancestors are piercing the veil to hear the conversations that we're having more closely, or to interact with the conversations we may be having. So when they pierce the veil, they maybe see, I just saw it again up there. They may be just coming in for moments.
Peace. You're welcome.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, whenever I did readings, because when I used to do readings for people and connect to the people that they loved, that they lost, etc., that I'd always record my readings, and I had my digital recorder on the table, and I said, go and make sure you listen, because you never know who you may hear in the background, and it may be the person that we're talking to.
And you literally can hear them.
Sometimes you can hear the people that I'm talking to.
That's
and I'll give you an example that there was a young couple that come to me some time ago, and they lost their son. He was unfortunately murdered. And they know that he was murdered, and they don't know who the killer was. And I won't say what come through. But anyway, he come and they brought his brother as well to the session. And in my mind, I kept hearing their son say, tell them about the tattoo, right? Tell them about the tattoo. But then I didn't say it right away. I kept going on about something. And then he started telling me about his two dogs that was really had Yoshi and Yogi with them over there, and which are kind of weird names, right? And he goes, oh my God, we used to have little dogs named Yoshi and Yogi. I'm like, well, he's telling me he's got them here. And I said, he's describing them to me, and he's really good. Yeah. But then when they went home, they listened to the recording. Because I gave them the digital copy. I emailed to them. They went home and they listened, and they heard their son. And in the background, before I start talking about that tattoo, they hear him go, tattoo, tattoo, like that in the background. And they go, oh my God, that's our son. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing, that you actually be recorded before I spoke anything.
Yeah.
You can hear him saying tell him about the tattoo. And so it gave them a great deal of peace of knowing that they was there. And those little sparks of light that I see, I feel is like when they're piercing the veil that they could be recorded sometimes. Because they do have voices that we may not be able to sometimes hear with our ears. Yeah. I do hear them sometimes with my ears. And I could be with other people. This is where it gets really cool, because I've been doing this work a long time. But I could have a digital recorder, and I could be out in a space, and I could hear an earthbound spirit or hear my guide, and you wouldn't hear him. But if I push stop, rewind, and play, you could hear him on the recording saying it.
It doesn't have anything to do with
it's
the vibration.
It's
dimensional energy and vibration.
Because maybe you're not like I feel that this is how it works. I don't know if it's true, but as we are not in the same vibration, we cannot see it, and we're not aligned to them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that because you're developing that and you're moving your vibration towards that, is that how you're actually...
And medium knows how to do that in a kind of very natural way. They're able to kind of bring their awareness and focus to a vibrational frequency, focused energy.
Yeah.
So because when I do sessions on stage, and I did this in Moncton not that long ago, but I do group events, right? And things are in front of people, I'm connecting to people's loved ones. And then sometimes even during the events, other people hear their people. And when I was in Moncton doing a paranormal conference, There was a Body, Mind, Spirit Expo. I monked it, I think it was last year. And during the event, I was talking to a man for this lady in the audience, and twice he spoke loud enough that everybody in the audience could hear it.
Wow.
And I'm
Amazing.
guessing that, in that energetically feel that kind of like it's making with that vibration of people that it's there because they believe, they feel it, they're connected to that. It kind of like, I don't know how to explain, maybe like propel or impulse that frequency a little bit more, and that's how they are able to listen, all the people.
Right. I mean, it's not really releasing. It's just really like getting into the vibrational frequency that's a little bit higher level energy that mediums are able to kind of move into kind of more naturally sometimes. And the more practice and work that you do with this, the more adept you become at doing it. And Spirit's able to utilize your aura, your energy, then to kind of like utilize your vibration to move into a space to get the voice through on the recorder and such, or to give you a message, or give you something clairvoyantly to tell the person to say, hey, this is me, and this is something I want to share with them, etc. And so it's a spiritual work that we all have available to us. It's not, I don't think I'm part of like some elite group that only can do this.
Yeah.
I feel it's just that it's just a passion of mine. And it's something I'm deeply like, just like you're connecting to your guide.
Yeah.
And why I was telling you the story about the guides before coming to be different stages, I feel like that was one of your spirit guides that was coming to help you remember that they're part of your life and with you. If not more than one.
Yeah.
But I do feel like they were connecting to an energetic level. And even though you have identified with a certain place in space, I mean, just like I've identified Victoria being like Norway and, Celtic and Gaelic, from a different time period.
Does it have to do anything to do with the fact that it's a feminine side because he's having no?
Well, I know it was feminine. It was amazing.
Same with Victoria.
It's the most. I feel it. I know it. I know her.
Yeah,
but I don't know who she is.
She's one of your spirit guides.
And she presented, and I saw it. It was like similar to me. I was at the stage at this gathering where I was stepped back and I was overseen, observing. I was like, "Whoa, this love." So was she.
Yeah.
She was just it was this overarching safety. She was there, and that's the first time.
Because she's in that space, that energy, right?
Bingo. I felt it in my body and I knew it, but this was the first time I saw something visually.
Yeah.
Like a little, I'd love to see an angel. I've always did, but it's like now I was able to see it. It was just a subtle shift of energy. Absolutely. And I'm like,
you had a glimpse.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're here, but I don't know who you are. So I went away. I was like, am I allowed to approach you? Like, what's going on? It was yeah, I did. Like this whole 2 week, and it's like downloads.
There you go. See, she's made contact with you at this stage of life, because where you are right now in your life, you maybe need to have that connection to her. Yes. That is more stronger.
Yeah.
Femininity, because
and it was always been around. It's not like, oh, this was a new experience. Yeah, and I didn't see it's like I didn't see the second footprints in the sand.
Yeah. See,
I felt them.
I was very deeply connected to Sam when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then in my 20s, I really reconnected with them. But it wasn't until my 30s where I started to move into a different stage of life where I really was stepping into this work that I really needed that connection to Victoria. Right. The reason is because she had lived many lifetimes doing what I do. She has lived this life of teacher, healer, speaker, channel, connector. So she has wisdom that she can share with me from her perspective of the other side to help and guide me with the work that I'm doing.
Yes. Yeah.
So I need her. So she works with me with the work that I'm doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
And the same goes for you.
Yeah,
Just because of where you are in this stage of life, your guide has come to kind of help you through the stage and guide you as you move forward through life from here on. Yeah. And that relationship will grow. And you will record her. You will capture her from time to time. You'll actually pick her up on different audible things different times, and you'll know that you can talk to her, and she's going to remind you that she's there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was so funny because it's just like,
So why is she telling me about a dog? Like she's telling me that did you have another, like I know you have a dog here, but don't you have another big dog?
I don't have I have 2 small pups, but I've always wanted to get a breeding pair of Irish Wolfhound dogs.
This is what I'm seeing. They're part of your animal nation. They're part of your totems.
Okay, the hounds, the oldest sight hounds known to.
Because I just saw your guide for a moment, and she walked up with these massive dog. So there's a reason why you feel connected to the dog as well, and why you feel spiritually you want to connect with that species particularly.
Yeah.
Is because you already are on an energetic level.
Yeah.
This is one of your totems that walks with you in life.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
It's a big dog.
Huge.
Yeah.
It alarms me.
And you have past lives with this dog.
Really?
Yes, you've had other lifetimes with this dog as well. I feel like you've been connected beyond this one lifetime.
I'm grinning in my heart. That's amazing. These are beautiful. Do you know the Irish Wolfhound?
Yes.
Oldest known hound to humankind.
Yeah.
Obviously Irish, the Celts. And they're the most beautiful, loyal. But also, you don't want them come running, hunting you down, because they don't look it, but they're like a bear, like a black bear, but much slender, bigger legs.
Yeah.
But they're so loyal that's why the Celts loved them. They'll tear people to pieces in battle, but they were beautiful hunting dogs, they're sight hounds. Yeah.
And devoted to their person.
And loyalty, yeah. So
you were their back, part of their family.
There was a pack, and there's some land that I'm due to get when it happens, when everything lines up, and that's all I've been seeing is the land to host a pack of Irish Wolfhounds. They can run the land, they can almost go wild and free, but not. But yeah, I've seen it so many times, but. Yeah. When the time's right. I've got a little miniature poodle. I've got a little poodle at the moment, which is...
that's not what I'm saying. That doesn't... There's a big animal spirit in there somewhere. I think some of those little dogs probably have bigger animal spirits than the big ones.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've got two little wiener dogs.
They
definitely got big personalities.
They do. I've seen... I witnessed a dash hound. Somebody shot a deer... on a hunt, and this dash hound swims across the little body of it's like a grab and just bites into its nose and starts dragging it out of the water. That's dash hounds for you. Yeah. They're funny little things. And then they're scared the next minute, so they're funny little critters. But
guys, we can be talking all day long.
Of course, yes.
But if it's okay with you, if we can have you again, I think that I have a lot of questions still. There's a lot of things that I would love to touch base as well. And
well, I mean, I'll say that in this interview, I've talked about things I've not talked about with other people.
Really?
Oh,
yeah. So the stuff with the different beings and worlds and stuff and my experiences is I've talked a little bit with some people, but not to this degree.
Yes.
Okay.
So this will be the first time I've kind of gone public with a little bit.
So we'll be obviously sensitive because it is weird because you're like, well, I find it, you have an experience and you're like, I want to share with people. I'm like, are they on the same page? Is it? Right. So it's a beautiful,
I'm passionate about all of this, right? And like I said, there's so many things that I've learned and I'm really curious of what you have actually experienced yourself in this way. So, but that will be another podcast then, another episode, so we can talk about this. I'm really happy and I'm really super honored with what you just said, the fact that we have had this conversation that you have never had.
Yeah.
I really wanted to touch base with your work because it's amazing. We both have heard it, and
it resonates for me at least. It resonates deep on a cellular. It's like, what is this? It's beautiful.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. The other day we went to Cape Breton and we were just listening to the book and we were like oh like
well, that's good. I mean,
I
didn't have these experiences to keep them to myself.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. I know it's almost
the creator gave me these experiences to share, to help people think bigger and broader than just what we've been taught.
Yes.
And help us to all think kind of bigger in our spiritual connection. Who are we, right?
Yes,
definitely. So I think that's really if I leave, when I leave this world, because eventually I will, you know, and I hope that I get everything out that I can that I've been gifted to from Spirit.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely. So thank you so much for being
great.
here. I will ask you again then to come
Sure,
over
absolutely. You let me know, and if I'm free and available, I'll definitely be
yes,
there.
yes, perfect. I'm looking forward for the second one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys.
We can-
We have to go, but I'm really happy. And remember, just dare to be us, dare to be you, and you know, your beautiful, perfectly imperfect self. So, bye bye.